You are listening to Scale Your Joy with Kaneisha Grayson, episode 18, our first ever entrepreneurial intervention. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the episode. I am very excited today because I have a new episode format for you. And if we get great feedback on it, we will do lots more like this. And the format, as mentioned in the intro to the episode, is an entrepreneurial intervention. So what this is an entrepreneur who is out in the world, in any country, any age, has some sort of usually online business, like a lifestyle business. Usually they're a coach or a consultant, usually in the information teaching coaching space. They're somebody who I happen to meet or is in my world for some reason, and I give them a free one-on-one coaching session. These coaching sessions are not super deep. They are not meant to be necessarily life-changing, and they are not sessions that I prepare for. They really are an intervention, meaning that we come together, I ask them some questions to get to know them and their business a little bit more. They have prepared questions for me. They've also maybe will share their screen, show me what's going on, and we problem solve live together on a Zoom call. They share their screen so that I can maybe, show me your website, show me your prices, those kind of things. But they leave the session with a list of action items that they should do in order to move forward based on the advice and guidance they got from me during the entrepreneurial intervention. I do these just for fun because I love business. I love entrepreneurship. I love mentorship. Right now, I don't really have the bandwidth to have calls with everybody who reaches out to me, but sometimes the people who do reach out to me, they are the right fit to be like, you know what, let's get together for 15 minutes, 30 minutes and do a deep dive into your business very quickly and get you some actions that you can take to make things that are going well go even better, and to turn things around that are not going well. So the first ever entrepreneurial intervention is between myself and entrepreneur Asia Small. Her business is called The Purpose of Prep. It is a college admissions and SAT and ACT prep company, and it's very similar to my company, The Art of Applying. And I'm really excited that this is the first entrepreneurial intervention since it is so similar to my own business. And I think that you're going to really enjoy watching Asia and I interact. One thing you will notice is that at the beginning of the call, I'm not even ready for it to be recorded. So this is not even something that we planned on making a podcast episode, but I had already thought, I would really like to be coaching people and doing entrepreneurial interventions. And then Asia was recording our call. And I, by the end of the call, I'm like, you know what? Can I please use this as a podcast episode? Because I think people would really enjoy seeing us interact and see how her entrepreneurial intervention went. So please enjoy my first ever entrepreneurial intervention for the Scale Your Joy podcast, Scale Your Joy audience. I hope that you take some notes and gain some insights that can help you in your existing business or as you think about what kind of business you may want to start. Enjoy. Hi, Asia.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Nice to meet you.
So nice to meet you too. Thank you so much for taking your call. I know you are a busy woman. And I'm honestly really honored, kind of fangirling. I'll try to be.
Awesome. Yeah, no, nice to connect with you. So how can I help?
So I kind of Carolyn told me about you and what you did. And what you do with students and the graduate programs, and I thought it'd be really cool to talk to you and kind of ask a couple questions, if that's okay, about how you got where you got, what you did, because you run a huge team. I was looking at your website and stuff, and you've had so much success, and I was just really inspired because you're a Black woman and I'm one too. And it was just really inspiring for me to see you work in this educational space and be successful, because for me, it took me a long while to realize like this is what my passion is. I majored in econ and I thought I was going to work in corporate forever. And I realized it's not what I wanted at all. And I knew the one consistent thing that I've always done from high school to now is tutor. I've been tutoring since I was in high school. I tutored throughout college. And even when I was working at Verizon, I tutored after work. I'd work really early, so I get off at 3:00. So I'm available for my students. And I've always been interested in education. So, but I've always felt discouraged because like I don't see a lot of like now, at least from what I've seen, like business owners that are like successful in this space, like in terms of like high, well, I guess success can be a lot of things, but I mean like high.
Yeah, but yeah, your definition, understood. Okay,
Right.
awesome. Yeah, hit me with the questions. I'll have questions for you. Yeah. So I guess one question I have for you is, what is your age? How much is your business making now? How much of that money goes to you? What's your ultimate kind of, I mean, I can repeat these. First, just what's your age?
Well, I'm 23. I turned
so you're very young. Okay, awesome.
Oh, yeah, I turned 24 in November. So.
What? Oh, when's your birthday?
It's November 25th.
Nice. I'm November 4th. The fall.
Oh, sweet.
Oh, awesome. Baby. Wow, you're very young. Awesome. And then, yeah, how much is your business making now, revenue?
So last year, the business made about $10,000 total the whole year.
Okay, understood. And then what percentage of how much of that 10K do you get to keep?
So the way I have it set right now is I have my owner's comp set to 20%.
Okay, so, of the revenue. And then where does the rest of that money go?
So I have 55% going to OPEX. That's like all my operating expenses, like my Thinkific course, Zoom, all that stuff that I use to keep the business running. I put 5% in a profit account just for that's like a backup overall profit account.
Absolutely.
And
then if it's one or the other, so that's the one adjustment I'm going to make. First piece of advice is it's either working capital, which is money that you can depend on when you need it, or it's profit. It can't be both.
It can't be both.
You know, it's either, working capital is the money that we keep in a bank account to be like, we need money to run the business.
Right.
Or it's profit that is for Asia. If you mix it up, the businesses are voracious. It will eat the profit if you have it in your mind that it is usable.
And you know what? I've done that before. I've pulled out of that profit account for operating expenses before.
Absolutely. So you want to go ahead and, if you want to take it to the whole full level, you can read the book Profit First.
That's the book where I got the percentages from.
Okay, got it. Okay, got it.
But I guess maybe I do need to reread that section because I must be thinking about the profit section wrong, the profit account wrong.
Well, it's just that one thing you said where you said
it's a backup.
When you said it's a backup, it's like, no, it's either for the business or it's for you.
For the business or for me, right? Okay. I think I've always been confused with that word, like profit, because I always hear the word owner's comp, and I'm like, all right, that's money that you pay yourself for. Then really, what is profit for? Is it like
profit? Think of it as the bonus you get for running the business well. So at the Art of Applying, in 2020, we had $581,000 in revenue, top line money. I paid myself something around $100,000 as a salary.
Right.
You can think of that as my job money. But the profit, since I'm the sole owner of the business like you, is money that I'm taxed on, and I can decide with that profit how much of that profit I want to keep in the business and how much I want to take out as an owner's distribution. Now, my payment is more complex because my business is bigger. Right now, are you a sole proprietorship or an LLC or what?
I have it set up as an LLC, but I think tax-wise, it's still considered like a sole.
Understood. Yeah. So a single member LLC and you're a sole proprietorship. So I don't think you at this point need to even differentiate like, oh, my salary versus what I would recommend is how much is your business consistently bringing in a month in revenue?
During the school year, summer's always.
Yeah, it's very seasonal.
But during the school year, like from August, like all the way working till May, it brings in about $1,700 a month.
Okay, so then what if you just say, make sure you look at the percentages for that size business. At that size business, it's usually usually I'm thinking like half the revenue should be going to you. But let's just go ahead and, because I don't remember the percentages from the book, because the percentages should change based on the size of your business.
Right. You're correct. Yeah.
So let's just say it's 50%, right? So we're saying $1,700 a month, $850, or we can make it clean and just say $800 a month is for you. Now, there's going to be some months where you make $2,000. There's going to be some months where you make $400. One thing you can do, this is not the profit first way, but one thing you could do is just pay yourself a consistent $800 a month, which means that since you already have some money in the business's savings account, it means that you're paying yourself less than you could be some months, more than it feels like. Maybe one month you've only brought in 500,
right?
But you still pay yourself 800 out of that savings account just to get into the habit of consistently paying yourself. So that's one thing. That's not the profit first way, but that's one thing to consider is choose a number that you can commit to, a modest number to consistently pay yourself.
Okay.
Now, going back to the profit thing, in my business, we had, let's call it $140,000 in profit. Now, technically, I'm taxed on all of that, but I'm not going to take all of that and go shopping or whatever, or invest it because the business needs money. So this isn't exactly what happened, but let's, for example, say half of that 140 I put back in just keep in the business account. And the other half I take out as an owner's draw. That doesn't change the way it's taxed, anything like that. It's just now it's not in the business's bank account. It's in the Kaneisha Grayson personal bank account. Right. So think of when your business, as the business grows, eventually you'll actually be a W-2 employee of your business. Eventually, I'd say around $80,000 in annual revenue. It's time to switch over to looking into, should you be taxed as an S corp?
Right. Yeah, I remember my I'm glad you said it, because I remember my accountant mentioning something like that, because I was asking her about like, should I be taxed as like an S corp? She's like, don't worry about that yet.
Not yet. It triggers a lot of, sounds like you have a good accountant. It triggers a lot of paperwork. So you don't want to worry about that yet. But what I was advised was around 80K of revenue. That's the time to start thinking about it. But I think you can even start asking your accountant about it, even at 40K of revenue and up. So all that is to say is you want to get into some sort of consistent money habit where the business is always giving some amount of money to Asia that never flows back into the business, because we've got to practice letting the business sustain itself a little bit better, so that you don't get it. Because there are people, I have friends, Asia, whose businesses make $500,000 and don't even pay them, $120,000 out of 500K of revenue. So it's going to their team members, it's going to operations, it's going to administration, it's going to Facebook ads, whatever, coaches, right? It's not that I'm against investing in coaches, but you got to pay yourself first. So it's not about starving your business of money, but you do need to get into a habit, even if it's a modest. You could even make it, Asia, $350 a month. Absolutely goes out of the business to Asia once a month as the owner's distribution, and you leave the rest in the business. And then let's say you have a great client success, you land on the local news, whatever, and you're like, you know what, I deserve $1,000 bonus. And then maybe you pull that out. But get into a habit of paying yourself a little bit. As far as how I started the business, I'm trying to think if I already have this on some sort of recording. Rachel Rogers, I was on her podcast. I grew up in a low income, high crime neighborhood in Austin, Texas, and my parents grew up as migrant farm workers. So they're from the US, but they traveled all over picking fruit their whole childhood, young adulthood. They got scholarships to go to college here in Austin, Texas, and they had my sister Tamika. And even though my parents were college educated,
and they moved into a middle-class neighborhood. White flight happened, the bottom of the tax fell out, and it just very quickly became the hood, the barrio. And I'm glad that's where I grew up. It's shaped who I am. But for me, school was my haven, right? It's where I was, my teachers loved me. I was really good at school. And when I was in 6th grade, a school came to my middle school to talk to the kids in the honors classes about going to the magnet program. And so I had to apply to get into the magnet program. And then I helped my best friend JJ apply to the magnet program. Then when I was at the magnet program, they'd pull me out of class to then go recruit other kids to the school. So then when it was time to go to high school, once again, I had applied to, so these are free public schools, but they're rigorous programs. And then, so it's just like, I've been doing this kind of like helping people get into school literally since 1996, when my first client of my whole life was myself, and then my best friend, JJ. So then in college, when it was time to apply to college, helped JJ and my friends apply to college. And then at college, I would go around recruiting kids I went to Pomona College, a small liberal arts college in California, studied Black studies. And then when I was in college, I started helping older students apply to grad school. I didn't even really understand what they were going to go study, but I just knew the mechanics of a strong application. And my good friend Kevin got into Harvard Kennedy School with 2 full scholarships, an external one and one from the school. And clearly, you can only use one. You can't, double. With college, sometimes you can actually make money from scholarships, but with grad school, that's less so. And I was like, whoa, I'm good at this. So let me get myself into Harvard. So I applied and was accepted to Harvard Business School and Harvard Kennedy School to get my business and policy degree. The policy degree was more of the obvious natural fit because I had done so many educational nonprofit type internships. But when I got there, culturally, the business school was a much better fit for me because I just had this hunger for learning business, making money. I liked the rough and tumble classroom atmosphere, the gladiator-like classroom atmosphere of, you've got to jump in there and make your point heard and connect it to someone else's point and get seen. And I realized, I thought going in, I want to do social enterprise. So things like sustainable nonprofits or enacting global social change through organizations that do good while sustaining themselves. And of course, I still support those missions, but I realized that I'm really an entrepreneur at heart, and social enterprise was my introduction to entrepreneurship. But really, when Black women start businesses, our businesses are, most often, if not always, connected to a positive social impact. And so as a Black woman, I don't need to be a social entrepreneur. Simply by being an entrepreneur, building wealth, being an example of what's possible, I'm already doing good in the world. And then on top of that, a lot of Black women look at me and you, the businesses we choose to start, we're not out here starting, tobacco companies, right? Like we are usually starting businesses that already within the business's core operational imperative is something helping the world. For you, helping people get into college and get scholarships. For me, helping people get into grad school and get scholarships. And so that's how I started the business. I was 20, I was right around your age, a little older. I was 25. It was just me and a laptop, and it was me and a laptop. And then I, get an executive assistant, get a VA. Then I started bringing on consultants. People told me it wouldn't work to bring on consultants. They were like, no, you're the face of the business. People, they have to work with you. It won't work. It totally worked. It totally worked because not everyone wants, well, first of all, someone who is able to give them their full attention versus me, who's running the rest of the business. Also, some people want different temperaments. Not everybody, I think it's great for everybody to interact with me a little bit, all clients, but my temperament, my energy, my approach energetically is not the right match for every single person. So if we have a diverse team, we can find someone who's the right match for them.
Right.
While I am getting people excited, helping people feel more confident about applying to grad school, helping people feel like it's possible, sharing my story, sharing the stories of clients. So I'm the face of the business. I set the vision for the business. I manage the business as the CEO, but I'm not the one working with every single individual client. Things really changed for me in 2017, 7 years into starting my business. At that point, my business was making probably, I think 375K in revenue in 2016, I think so. And then 2017, it shot up to 575 or somewhere around there. And then 2018 was $1 million year. So the reason why I had such amazing growth is that I started working with a business coach, and they taught me how to have an automated webinar funnel, which I'm sure your boss, Robin, has something like that. So the automated webinar funnel I learned to set up was a Facebook ad that goes to a landing page, like register for my webinar. And look, it starts in 12 minutes. Aren't you lucky? It starts at the top of every hour. It's an automated webinar. They register for the webinar. That adds them to my company's mailing list so that I can nurture a relationship with them, whether they watch the webinar or not. About half the people who register for the webinar show up live, watch the webinar. And the webinar is me sharing my method, sharing success stories, sharing my story, getting people excited, warming people up. And then at the very end, I invite people to book a free call with my team. And then we get on the phone with them. It used to be just one kind of hour-long or 90-minute call, but now we do a 15-minute call to kind of filter people. And then after that, it's free. And then we do a 90-minute call.
Okay. And
then you enroll those people into what's called a high ticket program. So an expensive, somewhere between 5,000 on up. So when that was 2017, I'm already 7 years into my business. Instead of offering all these different things, I just said, you know what, I'm going to make one coaching program. So we called it Application Accelerator. We still have it. At that time, it was the only thing you could buy because I wanted to really try this method. It was a big risk and scary to like not offer anything else. But I was like, let me just try and make this work. And it worked really, really well. And I was back then charged $10,000 for the program. And we've since expanded Application Accelerator to add a guarantee, to make it much more comprehensive, to make it a lot longer of a program. And so we've increased what we call tuition for the program, but we've added a guarantee, but then we've also added hourly coaching so that people who do want smaller packages, have a smaller budget, because $5,000 is still a lot of money, right? So I didn't want it to be, you either pay me, $15,000, $20,000, or you get out, so now we've got some flexibility. But most of our money and profitability is from the Application Accelerator. And that is where the best results come from. So we try and, if people are able to make that investment, that's where we really focus on. So the people that they speak to on my team, we call them breakthrough coaches, and they do the breakthrough call, 90-minute call. Those are consultative salespeople. I paid tens and thousands of dollars to learn how to sell expensive things, high ticket programs on the phone. I'm excellent at it now. And then I've taught it to, at this point, probably 20 salespeople to just looking for my stars. And I've had, I would say at this point, 3 or 4 people who have been really excellent, 3 people who have been really excellent at it. So that's how I started it. That's how I grew it. After my $1 million year, it was very, very exciting. But I also experienced a lot of like personal challenges, like my mom died, my husband left me, like it was just a lot. So I scaled back my business so that I could like rest, focus on my health, find myself a life partner. And so 2019, I think, was more like a $517,000 a year. So half, right? That was, I made a lot less money, me personally, but I like didn't even care, didn't even matter, because I was just like healing, feeling. I also spent 4 months living and running my business from Spain and Barcelona, had the time of my life. So I would never trade that for, hustling for that year. Then 2020, of course, was the pandemic year. And the revenue number was pretty similar, it was $581,000, but my personal income was fantastic. So I ended up, with that 100K salary payment, and then I think something around 140, 150 profit. And also, I think the business also made a $25,000 profit share contribution to my retirement account. So even though the revenue number looked similar, I made a lot more money. And even though the revenue 580 was 58% of my $1 million year, I made more money than I did my $1 million year. Wow. In 2020, I made more money for me than my $1 million year, and I worked less, and I got a boyfriend. Wow. So, and a dog. Yeah. So
that's amazing.
Life was really good in 2020, despite the terrible things that were going on in the world. Yeah. So one thing I wanted to just check in with you is, do you have a retirement account?
I have nothing for retirement.
Absolutely. So your homework is to buy two books and read them and do what they say to do. Okay. Number one is The Money Book for the Young, Rich, and Broke. I think that's, The Young, Fabulous, and Broke by Suze Orman. The Money Book for the Young, Fabulous, and Broke. Number two is Ramit Sethi's I Will Teach You to Be Rich. There may be more updated books on, these topics, but those are the two I read.
I think. Okay, I've got that one. I haven't read it yet, though.
Well, then it's time. Okay. Just start with that one. Don't even buy the other one yet. Just read it really slowly.
Okay.
And just do what it says to do. There is nothing more important that you as a young person can do for your financial freedom and your financial stability at this age is to start saving for retirement. Okay. I am not a financial planner, but just things that you can do is open a Roth IRA account. Those are amazing because the money you're putting in there is what's called after-tax money. You've already paid income taxes on it because it's already been taken out of your paycheck. Any money you put into a Roth IRA account, you can take out. If there's an emergency, there's no penalty. You just can't take out the interest.
Right.
You can't take out, the earnings.
Gotcha.
So, but let's say you put $3,000 in there over 2 years, and then at some point you run into an emergency, and you should have an emergency fund by then, but but you just need that money. You can just take it out, but all the while it will have been invested in the stock market growing. So don't go take any actions before you actually read slowly, step by step, the book. But absolutely, the time is your friend when you are 23 years old, because that money compounds and compounds and grows and grows. It is so much easier to save for retirement when you start early, even if you start with a really tiny bit of money.
Okay. Yeah, no, for sure. I will definitely do that. That is on my list to do. I'll make sure to read that, and I'll take the time because I actually just finished a book, so it's perfect. I can start this one.
Good. Absolutely. So I can answer 2 more questions, then I gotta go.
Right. I know you gotta go. So my question is actually going back to when you said you had one program, it was like the application accelerator.
So not when I started my business in 2010, and I ran it for 7 years, having all kinds of not products, but all kinds of offerings. You could do hourly, or you could do by school, or you could do by number of words of editing. It was 7 years in when I learned how to have a funnel to move people through a process and warm people up from never having heard of me to wanting to work with me. That was the year that I gelled around and committed to one program. Now I have softened in that approach to have one program and basically 2 programs. Application Accelerator are big tuition, big results, big guarantee. And then hourly coaching, which is just literally purchase hours with our team, very flexible, but you're going to need to be a little bit more self-driven with your process.
Okay.
So those are but it was 7 years in, but go ahead with your question.
Yeah, no, for sure. Because right now, like I have a lot of tutoring students because I started off with just tutoring because it was easier that way. I enjoyed it. I loved it. It was one-on-one. Now I'm trying to move a little less in the one-on-one space, or if I am, more high ticket, because it's kind of like to that point where like I get worn out. I have so many kids like that I tutor, which is why I focus more on the college admissions and SAT prep side. Because I was doing that for free during the tutoring. Because like I tutor in math.
Yeah, which is happening. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, why don't I just do something for it? So I created a course. I called it Camp College Admissions Made Painless.
Wonderful.
Oh, do you like that? Okay, cool. I'm glad you like it.
I do. I like that.
And it's a 5-step process that walks you through the college process. So it goes from find your career, interest, and major. So I kind of work through with students about what they're interested in and have they connected it to an actual career? Have they spoken to anyone in that career?
Awesome. So tell me what happened with the course.
So the course, I have it currently priced at $497.
Okay. Is there any one-on-one in it, or is it all self-paced? What's in the course?
It's all self-paced. There's basically no one-on-one component of it. I started doing a one-on-one component of it, and I have one person that I'm still like dealing with that, and it's just $497, and she was meeting with me every single week, and I realized that's awful.
Not going to work. But the she wasn't paying extra for it?
No, I did $497, sold the course, and gave her access to me for once a week.
Yeah. So then how did you draw the boundary, or are you still in that?
I'm still in that. She graduates this December, but since I already made she paid for it, and that's what I said she was going to get, I basically finishing off with her. She's the only person I have like
Understood. Well, one way to kind of, one way to get more out of this experience is possibly if you can get her to record a testimonial video with you and you interview her as a client success story.
Okay.
Put it on YouTube. So I have a podcast called Scale Your Joy. Yep. So I would listen to episode 2, the Kaneisha's coaching business cycle, and it walks you through all the steps of marketing and growing your business. It's like a framework, and one of them is capture client successes. And so even though she's underpaid or you undercharged, there's other ways to amplify the work that you're doing with her. For example, I have a client who paid me I don't even know. I feel like it was like $250 or something for like one call. And then he went off and used what I taught him to like get into Wharton, University of Pennsylvania, Wharton for business school, and then Princeton for his policy degree. And I was like, oh my goodness. And he only paid me like $250. But do you know, he has sent me not 1, not 2, but 3 clients since then. And they have collectively paid over $40,000. So, think of yourself as planting seeds. It's not always like you're not in a factory where, okay, doing this means this is going to happen. It's more that you're consistently and wholeheartedly marketing your business, providing excellent client service, learning how to be a better business owner, learning how to be a better marketer. And I don't mean that you're hustling hard and like stressing yourself out, but I just want you to know that those efforts aren't always going to show up as dollar signs immediately, but you're planting seeds. Sometimes I'll put up a video on YouTube, and 5 years later, someone will be like, that's the video that made me want to work with you. And, but they just discovered the video. So that's the power of content and evergreen content as well on platforms like YouTube that are searchable. So I don't know, did you ask a question though, related to the?
Yeah, it was to the course. Basically, is it okay if I share screen really fast?
Yeah, go ahead.
Faster so that so like this is the course basically I created.
Beautiful.
So those are the phase. So those are the 5 steps. So I don't have to like read them out.
Awesome.
And it walks you through all of those sections. And I was trying to think of like, in your personal opinion, like, because I know the application accelerator though is one-on-one, but if you've
Well,
ever
no,
done
it's so the application accelerator is a hybrid. It's group
Oh.
coaching, plus you have a dedicated consultant. So it's a hybrid, but go ahead, ask your question.
Okay, got you. Like in terms of like your opinion, just what would be the best way to market this in a sense? Because I would love to be able to sell this course as a standalone, where it's like you can buy the course self-paced, nothing extra, and then have like I was thinking like a upcharge where you can have the course but get one-on-one, but more high
Absolutely.
ticket.
I think that's a great model. So one is you can just buy the course.
Right.
And then the other one is and your slides are beautiful.
Thank you.
So yeah, so one is buy the course and one is buy the course plus get access to Asia.
Yeah, and I was thinking like something maybe like a group coaching call like once a month. There's like
For which one? The $497?
I was thinking for the high ticket.
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
for the course, I was thinking you can get the course $497. It's all filmed. You can do it on your own with all the information that you need. Because a lot of times with parents, the issue is the right information.
You might want to consider a little bit more often meeting for the high ticket people, like group coaching call, maybe every other week, just
2 times a month.
Just so that you're having more touch points with them and keeping them engaged, but just make sure you charge enough, right? So have you sold any of the $497?
I've sold the one to that one woman that I have now, which I sold it that weird way.
I understand.
She has access to me. And then she actually, believe it or not, recommended me to someone else, telling me, she didn't tell her anything about the pricing, just like, oh, she's great.
Absolutely.
I'm working with her. And I just had a call with them last week. And I was selling them the one-on-one version of this, which I already have. I told them the price already, but I priced it at $3,000.
Beautiful. I think that's awesome. I think that's excellent.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
So, it's a great place to start. Is the 3,000 is the 497 and the 3,000. So just I think that's excellent. Okay. So then I'm keep going.
Okay. Just keep going. Okay.
Yeah, keep going.
I heard you talk about the funnel thing. So I was like, maybe I should create.
Well, yeah. So you may want to look into setting up an automated webinar funnel, which could be a YouTube ad that goes to an automated webinar, which, a YouTube ad that goes to a registry. Let me just show you my funnel so you can understand what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
So a funnel is just how do you get people from being strangers in the world to knowing who you are? I'll mess up a few times or whatever, but whatever, just instead of watching it, we'll just be like, that's the ad. It's just me sitting here being like, I'll just play a little policy, law, or almost any other professional graduate program within the next 12 months, despite having a less than perfect application. Can you even hear the audio? You need to know.
Yep.
Okay. 7 secrets our clients use to get into their dream schools and with money to pay for it. Click the button on this video. So that's just all, nothing fancy. There'll be maybe some stuff the editors will add, maybe on the video itself. So they watch the ad, then they end up at a registration page that looks like this. This is not the actual page they land on, but this is a mock-up. And it's like, join the presentation. Now, usually there's going to be a clock here that's like starts in 5 minutes because it plays at the top of every hour. Right. Then they click here and they put in their information. When they put their information in, that puts them on my mailing list.
Right.
Do you have a mailing list?
Yes, it currently has 97 people on it.
Awesome. And what software do you use?
I use oh my gosh, brain.
Like MailChimp or
Active Campaign.
Active Campaign. Awesome. I've heard great things about them. So they'll put their information here, it puts them on my mailing list. And then I have something called a lead sequence, a nurturing sequence. So it's a series of emails I send them that's like, hey, I'm Kaneisha. Nice to meet you. Let's get to know each other. But anyway, if they do actually show up to the webinar, then they will watch the webinar. This is not the actual page, but this is a mock-up of the webinar. I'm wearing the same shirt. That's funny. And it on the actual page that they see, this button does not pop up till they've watched the whole thing. That way, people are not booking calls with me unless they are committed or booking calls with my team. So they'll click this and they'll be invited to book a call with my team.
I see.
So, you use Calendly, which is great. This is schedule once. They book a call with my team. After they book the call with my team, it redirects them to fill out the applicant profile. Right. So it's a long form that just gathers information for us. And then they come and have a free 15-minute call with my team. Mm-hmm. If they still seem like a good fit, we pass them through to another call, a 90-minute call. And at the end of that call, we invite them to work with us. And we're like, which one are you doing? I'm just going to use your programs. Are you doing camp? Are you doing the camp core, or are you doing camp Asia access? Right. So, and then they're like, well, I need to think about it. And so then that's called an objection. So then we gently, lovingly, but authoritatively handle their objections. Like, okay, well, can you help me understand what you need to think about so that I can help you, give you whatever information you might need as you think about it? And they're like, well, I feel like I can do it on my own. And then you deal with that objection. Or they're like, well, I need to talk to well, you'll have the parent on the call, but for us, I need to talk to my parent. Okay, mm-hmm. What do you imagine your parents are going to say? Let's role play it. So, your job on that call is not to force them to sign up, but nor is it to be their friend and to be like, well, if maybe you don't need it. Like, no, clearly they need it because they sat through an hour-long presentation in their busy life. Clearly they need the help. So that's what an automated webinar funnel looks like. Then they sign up or they don't. And then when they sign up, you put them in your program. Okay. And you help them get into their dream schools.
That makes perfect sense. Okay. Cool. No, I'm definitely going to do that. I'm perfect. I have it recorded so I can go through the steps and think about how
absolutely. And there's the course I took. Mm-hmm. And if you go take that course, please let them know so I can get a referral fee. But the course I took was Clients on Demand. There are other people similar to that. I guess what I would say is I don't feel like you need help creating your course. You probably need help with setting up the funnel and learning how to sell. So when I name these people, just make sure that when you talk to their teams or go through their materials, that it's more focused on marketing the course and converting people than creating the course. Okay. You already know how to do that.
Yeah, my biggest issue is marketing and prospecting, like getting clients.
Yeah. So I would call it, you need help with marketing and you need help with conversion. Maybe you'll convert people on the webinar itself, and get them to purchase from watching the webinar, or maybe you'll convert them on a call. So anyway, I took Clients on Demand, but you could also look into Danielle Leslie, and her main course I know of is called Course from Scratch. My concern is that one's about make the course. Right. Let's see if she's got other stuff that's like how to actually convert people into the course. And then you could look into Amy Porterfield's Digital Course Academy. Yeah, I don't know. Is that just about making I don't know. So those are some other people you could look into as well for your course. Or you could start out with just finding someone on Upwork to just set up the automated webinar funnel for you. Just somebody in Eastern Europe who does automated webinar funnels all the time. But you are going to need help with crafting that webinar. What do I say in the webinar? What should I cover? Am I coaching? No, you're not. You're talking about your philosophy, what makes you different, showing some client highlights. So I would say don't be afraid to invest in working with a coach. Just make sure. I would be very hesitant to send you to a course that's like $10,000 or more when your business is bringing in 10,000. I would rather see you bringing in more clients. So around marketing your business, what is the main way that you get clients?
So Facebook groups. So what I used to do is I just go in and I make posts anyone, or a lot of the times it was tutoring. So it was super easy because it's parents are always in Facebook. I need help with Algebra 1. I'm like, I do that. I'm really good at math. I don't say that, but I put my message, and that's how I've been getting them. And I've always just been wondering, if there was just is there a better way besides doing the Facebook groups?
Well, I like the Facebook groups. Does it take up a lot of your time, or do you find you're flatlining? What about that isn't working?
Flatlining, because with the tutoring, it worked. I could find tutoring clients. With the college admissions, not so much. I've found one person, and that one person has led me to this next call that I'm about to have. But that's about
How long
it.
have you been like open for business for the college admissions?
I recently started doing that in January. So
Okay,
like,
and what about YouTube?
I actually am starting YouTube now. I just filmed my first video. I'm getting
Okay.
my intro outro made, but I just filmed my first video actually, but it's not up yet. But I
Okay,
did think
awesome.
about starting
So,
doing
because
YouTube.
I noticed you had such nice videos on your website that like fall from the top. I really
Oh,
liked.
thank you.
Do you do anything consistently outward facing besides the Facebook group? Meaning I write one blog post a week or a month, or I have one this, or what's your content that you put out in the world in a consistent way, if any?
I've been completely inconsistent for like the past 2 years because I've always been like, I'm such a loner. I have like no friends. So I never post on social media. Like I've always been just more of a watcher. So I've been
Yeah.
completely inconsistent. But the social medias things that I have posted to are Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn is all I've ever done.
And have you ever tracked where clients are coming from those places?
No, not at all. Mostly because I like my Instagram, for example, like 90% of it is like my family and friends.
Understood. So then I would just say I would really concentrate on YouTube. Make sure your titles are good for search. So it shouldn't be
Right.
Ask Asia video 1. That should not be the title, right? Because nobody's searching for that. But
Right.
you know,
Like
what is the first step for
what calculator should I choose for the SAT? Like that's something that's
absolutely perfect.
Okay.
Absolutely
That's
perfect.
my first video.
And perfect title. And there needs to be a call to action at the end of the video, not just here's some free information. There needs to be a call to action. Come to thepurposeofprep.com, sign up for our newsletter to get more of this information, or reach out for a free call to talk about how we can help you get into your dream schools.
Yeah.
So make sure there's a call to action at your videos. Ask them to like, ask them to subscribe, and ask them to come and have a conversation.
Yeah. So definitely probably, I know for sure that's one thing I haven't done is being consistent.
You have to be consistent. So listen to episode 2, Kaneisha's coaching business cycle. You have to be consistent. It does not have to be like a hustle. You can even do one YouTube video a month. Okay. Whatever you can do consistently. With my podcast, we were doing once a week in seasons, and it was just too much. So we are scaling down to once a month. And I'm like, great, as long as we can just do it consistently.
Right. That's what matters. Okay. Okay. Then I'll definitely do that because I've been planning on like what I want to do consistently and stuff like that. So I'll make sure to keep that in mind. Like it's about consistency, don't run myself ragged and then become inconsistent.
Absolutely. So let's integrate. What was the most impactful, or what's your biggest takeaway from our conversation?
Well, my biggest takeaway for sure is just leaving this call feeling like I can do it. And I know that's not like one of the tactical things, but that was really important for me, like knowing, like hearing your background and knowing like where you came from. Because I also come from low income, single mom. Both her parents died when she was 8. So she's been on her own her entire life. And I'm one of 5 kids.
Wow.
So it was rough growing up. I'm talking sleeping in storage units. Like it was rough for our family.
Oh my goodness.
So knowing that you also came from a background, similar to that, like where it was a struggle, that makes me know that like, hey, just because it's not like great right now, like I'm not making a lot of money right now, doesn't mean it can't happen.
Oh, absolutely. Asia, I say this wholeheartedly. Like the quality of the look of your website, your enthusiasm, the fact that you're good with numbers, not afraid of numbers, the fact that you are coachable, you have what it takes to have $1 million business or multi-million-dollar business. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I had no idea. You could have told me, yeah, my business brought in $70,000, $200,000. I would have totally been like, yeah. So you are laying the foundation really well. I don't even just only meeting you, but very proud of you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Absolutely. And just, really happy to have connected with you.
Same. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome, Asia. I'm really excited about what you're doing with your company.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you so much. And I just want you to know, like, I appreciate your time because I know you're busy. I know you have a lot, and like, this is free time you're giving up. So I really do appreciate that and acknowledge that.
You are so welcome. I accept your appreciation. One thing I would like to ask you, if you feel comfortable, is I actually think a lot of other people would benefit from hearing this conversation. Would you be comfortable to the idea of me making this a podcast episode? Just yesterday, my podcast marketing team was like, Kaneisha, we want to see you do like mentoring sessions with people. And I was like, yeah, that's a good idea. And they're like, you always make people feel like they can do it.
I was just waiting for you to finish. Absolutely.
Okay. Awesome.
Absolutely. And if you ever do anything in mentoring, please let me know.
Okay, I will. You are the type of person I would love to mentor. So I will really seriously think about that and make sure, do I want to start a Kaneisha's mentoring circle? Maybe you can, Asia, maybe you can help me think of how it would look and how it would work.
Absolutely. I would love to. And I'm always the type of person I would say, like, if something is valuable, I will find the money for it. Like, that's like how I met Robin. That internship program was $200 and I was a broke college student. So I just sold stuff on Facebook Marketplace because I knew meeting Robin was valuable. Like, it was going to get me, and I wouldn't even have made $10,000 last year, anything, if she didn't tell me to increase my tutoring prices, for example.
Good.
Teach me stuff like that. I value mentoring. I value coaching and learning from other people. So whenever you do, I would love to talk to you about it. I'd love to be your first coaching client.
All right, then, Asia, let's keep in touch then, because maybe you can help me think of what it should be like. This was really the highlight of my day, Asia. I had a lot of fun talking to you.
That means so much to me. It's definitely the highlight of my day. I'm very excited. I can't wait to take action on the book you told me to read, retirement account, everything. I'm ready to take action on it. So thank you so much.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Asia.
Thank you so much. Take care. Bye.